everybody. Joe Misfit Glenn here. Welcome to A Minute with Misfit. I am here with Fred. He's a YouTube member and just an all-around badass. So we're going to have a good conversation. Welcome, Fred.
Thanks for having me, brother.
Hell yeah, man. I'm glad you're here, man. I love talking to folks like you. Just let me say hi to a few folks, and we'll get started here pretty quick, all right? What's up, Bryant? Welcome. Who else we got in here so far? All right. Let a few people filter in, man, and then we'll get started.
Hell yeah.
What's the weather like up there? Are you're still in Washington right now?
Yeah, I live in a desert, but it's been raining for like a week. It's driving me nuts.
Really?
Never done this before, so I don't know. Don't like it. It's cold. It's cold too.
I don't like the cold so much, man. I was up in Fort Drum, and it got really cold. Yeah, man. I did a lot of time up in Fort Drum, man. So I lived up there.
I avoided Fort Drum on several occasions. I think I actually re-enlisted to not go to Fort Drum.
Right. Yeah. A lot of people don't like to go there, man. But it was one of my best duty stations. We did a lot of hard shit. Oh, yeah, man. As far as the camaraderie and brotherhood, there was none other like my unit, my 122 infantry. Oh, man, it was a badass unit. Fort Campbell was a little bit better, though, as far as the places we got to go and the equipment we had.
And the climate.
And the climate. Yeah, that helps too. All right, let me see what's up. I just want to check on a couple of things, make sure that they're hold on. Make sure they're in here. Yeah, we have Vetcodes. Well, shit. Let me look. Hold on. Looks like we got a little bit of trouble going on there.
Always trouble in the rift.
Always. I got it. Well, Bryant, if you could, man, where are you looking from, man? Where are you watching from? Sea of Green? No, shouldn't be Sea of Green. Shit. Yeah, man, we're going to destinations. Yeah, it's on. Just waiting on some folks to come in, Fred. Sorry about the delay, man.
No worries. Drinking my protein, so we're good.
Hell yeah.
Oh, man.
Oh, fuck. No, that's my Misfit YouTube. Yeah, that's right. What's up? Magnolia, Texas. Jake Landry. What's up? Welcome, Jake. Welcome. I just got to look at this one more time. Yeah, she's there. Come on, folks. What's up, Jeffrey? Jeffrey Poor said, hey.
Jeffrey.
All right, what do we got? We're doing good, Jake. Doing real good, man. Trying to get started, but I think there was a little bit of a delay in it loading up to Vetcodes. So we're just waiting on everybody to get up on in, okay? All right, you know what? We're going to go ahead and get started, man. But anyway, so Fred, welcome to the show, man. I'm glad to have you here. Like I said, I love having top tier dudes on here to talk with me. And I appreciate you being here and taking the time. So, Fred, why don't you talk to everybody, man, and tell them a little bit about yourself to start, man.
All right. Well, joined the Army in '96 right out of high school. I was actually a Korean intel analyst. I had a lot of fun doing that for 7 years. That was like right around Y2K when everybody was scared about Koreans doing all their crazy stuff. Then 9/11 happened, and I was like, all right, I don't see Korea being involved in this scenario, so I'm going to need to find a better job, and went over to Special Forces, went through selection, got selected, went over to Germany, served with the 1st of the 10th Special Forces group, went all over the world, did some pretty cool stuff with them, ended up on a Halo team.
Hell yeah.
You know, living the dream. living the dream, and then eventually got too many concussions and got medically discharged and kind of whirlwind splattered around, went to college, got a degree in agriculture, taught high school biology, taught middle school history, went
Damn.
back to med school on Fort Bragg and taught medicine there in the Q course for a while. Then I had a stroke and then ended up kind of focused on fitness and health to get myself better, cleaned up myself, stopped taking pills, Ninja Warrior, and then Gold Rush happened. It's kind of like a whirlwind the last 10 years, and I've just been kind of going with the flow.
Jesus Christ, that's a lot of shit, man. Tell me about that American Ninja Warrior, man. Was that bitching or what?
That was actually, honestly, the hardest thing I've ever done in my whole life, like pressure-wise. You show up, you do your little video introduction, which is, you've never been on camera. It's kind of nerve-wracking at first. This was back before I'd done any TV at all. Sure. And they're like, all right, talk about yourself. Tell us 3 things about you that are cool, and then do something funny. And you're like, all right, whatever. Then they make you go stand in a holding area. They give you a number, and they say, when your number's called, it's your turn. That's all they tell you. They do one walkthrough. They show you all the obstacles, and they give everybody a chance to ask questions, which you don't have any clue what you're going to ask anyways. And then you wait until like 2 or 3 in the morning, and you finally hear your number. They drag you out there, and they say, go. And you're just like, holy crap, this is way taller than it looks first.
Right.
Like the most pressure I've ever been on in my whole life. And then you just go and you do stuff you've never even trained to do. Wow. So yeah,
that's
way harder than anything. Like it was immensely like, just, I don't know how to tell you, nerve wracking, I guess.
Right. Well, you were a medic in the teams, right? You were actually a medic.
Yeah.
What a bitching job that is,
Delta.
Man.
I think I went into Special Forces with the mindset that I wanted to be an 18 Delta. You could be either, weapons, comms, demo, or a medic. And I just knew I wanted to be a Delta. I thought with my language, maybe they'd think that had some correlation, but it really doesn't play into it. And just got lucky. I think I scored high enough on the GT and everything else they tested us on in the course, and I got everything I wanted. I wanted to go to a Halo team, and I wanted to be a medic, and I wanted to actually go to combat and use the training, and I got every single thing I wanted to. So, yeah, I mean, I lived my dream in the military. I just got out a lot earlier than I wanted to.
Yeah, that's about my story too, man. But there was a couple of dreams I didn't get, but that's okay, But man, that's good to hear. Not a lot of people have that experience in the military to get all the shit they want. That's pretty bitchy.
Yeah.
I
loved it. I loved it.
Hell yeah. So tell me a little bit about this adventure athlete, man. This is your business, correct?
It's more my motto. The business we have is Misfits Mining, and we kind of incorporate the adventure into the work that we do on the gold mine. But the adventure athlete kind of kicked everything off. It kind of like the catalyst that got me onto Gold Rush and got my head thinking about how to help vets. I just knew that we like competition. We like doing things that are kind of out of the ordinary. So I started doing 24-hour races. I started doing all the Spartan races. Ended up getting on American Ninja Warrior twice. It wasn't televised because I fell too soon, but it's a different story. I got on a show called Steve Austin's Broken Skull Challenge, which is probably one of the most fun experiences I've ever had. Steve Austin's amazing.
Hell yeah.
And that kind of got me into the notion like, hey, I've shared my story on these 2 shows. They picked me up pretty quick because they want to share that story. That means that story has power. Yeah. And through doing adaptive sports, I was on Team SOCOM for the Warrior Games. I met so many other dudes and ladies that were kind of thriving through their disabilities. Right. And when they shared their stories, it gave me energy. And I'm like, man, there's something to share in your story and being honest about what you've been through that can help other people recover. And then I was like, if I can get on TV and share that, I'll be hitting so many more people than if I'm just trying to do silly things here and there by doing these sporting events. So it kind of got me thinking, and that got me onto the show Gold Rush, which has reached veterans all over the world that are inspired to keep going after they've been hurt. So I don't know. I'm still on the ride. I don't know where this is going to go. I don't know what's next, but I'm keeping the same mentality.
Wow, man. That's bitching that the ride's still going and that you're just along for the ride, man. That's not a lot of people do that, man. A lot of people need to be in control and man, everything seems to be working for you though, man. And that's awesome. That's awesome.
It's working. It's ups and downs, right? I mean,
sure.
I've done a lot of things, but a lot of things I've started have ended also.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I've always seen the end of something as the beginning of something else. Like when I decided to not teach high school because it just wasn't, well, to be honest, they didn't pay well enough for what I was doing. It got me back to teaching medicine at the Elm Fort Bragg. So it led me to that. And that just kind of led me to wanting to be part of the fight again because I was, teaching guys to go into combat at the time. Sure. So I don't know. Everything leads you somewhere.
Yeah, for sure, man. Let me look in here and see if we got any questions real quick, Fred.
Yeah, I'd love some questions.
Yeah. Jeff, well, hold on. Let me see. Where was that? Damn it. Oh, Jeffrey Poor. He was talking about all the ups and downs, man. He's still moving forward. And that's basically that's the idea that we try to, to spread to the other veterans, man. You got to keep moving forward one step at a time, man,
Right. There's no stop, only pivot. That's the way you got to look at everything. It's there's never, if you keep moving, you've got momentum. It's when you stop, that's when shit starts to go bad. Like fitness wise, same thing. If you keep that momentum going, you're going to stay in shape and you're going to live a long, healthy life. But if you stop, it's a lot harder to get that momentum going. That's how my mentality is for everything.
That's absolute. And I'll tell you how I started to realize that. I started realizing it, man. I had old cars that were needing to be worked on. They ran perfectly when I parked them. I left them there for years. Sediment, just sedimentary, right? You go out there and try to start it, try to drive it. It's not going to work. That happens to your body too when you sit that long.
Yeah, it's true. Even your mind.
Yes, right. That's exactly right.
If you stop. Yeah. It's just one of those things. I find the best thing for me for my recovery was not only eating more and doing exercise, but I was in college. I went to college for 9 straight years. I used all the benefits I had, got a degree in agriculture. Then I started studying my master's in secondary education. But once I decided I didn't want to teach, I was like, all right, I want to do web design. So I started a bachelor's in web design at Full Sail. Then I got like 3/4 of the way through that, and I was like, "This is way too hard."
Right.
I never had any computer experience. I was learning new languages every week,
right,
and trying to keep up. And I was like, "All right, my brain's good," so I stopped going to school. But I felt like all the exercise, all the food I was putting in, no pills. I haven't taken a pill since 2014. I haven't even taken a Tylenol. I think that was one of the things that kind of. A doctor suggested I try weed because it was legal. I was in Washington. This is like way back in 2009, like when it was just barely legal.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, you should try it and maybe come off some of your pills. And this is the only doctor I'd ever had that had suggested coming off of pills.
Right.
And then I just started thinking about it as a medic, and I'm like, that's probably a good idea. So I smoked, and I was like, man, this is it right here. Yeah. So went to the VA, and I said, hey, I want to come off of the morphine. I was on morphine at the time, like 8 other pills too.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, he's like, why? And I'm like, because I feel like I can treat myself better than what you guys are doing. And then he's like, oh, it's not a good idea. Let's put you on Percocets. That might be better. And it went back and forth. And finally, I flipped this table in front of this doctor. And I'm like, if you don't take me off of all the medication, I'm going to come over this table and whoop your ass. I ended up getting escorted out of the VA in handcuffs.
Been there.
But that day, I drove home and I flushed every single pill down the toilet. And I was basically like, fuck you guys. You're not going to control me. Went through 2 months of hell and haven't looked back. So it's kind of like, just taking care of your mind and your body is so much more important than trying to recover from the injuries we've been through or the experiences we've had.
Yes. Yes.
That man. Focus.
I like to hear that come out of someone else's mouth, because that's my idea too, man. You got to keep yourself legit, man. But the same story for me, man, with pills. I had a hard time getting them to stop giving them to me. They would literally I wouldn't even order them. They would just send them to my house. And I just put them in my face. That's it. Until I got sick. And then the civilian doctor was the one that actually told me, hey, the only way you're going to get better is by stopping your pills. The VA was like, here, we'll just change them up. And I was like, no, I'm good, man. And so as a medic, I weaned myself off everything. I was on morphine and hydrocodone and
should have weaned.
I was on everything.
Weaned.
Yep.
Too stubborn.
I went to cannabis and never looked back, just like you said, man. And but Jeffrey's got a question for you. He says, are you going to stay to your dedication in helping veterans, i.e., if you get a chance to go gold mining, will your crew stay all veterans, or do you plan on adding civilians with a lot of mining experience?
So I can actually add kind of a update, answer this with an update, because I've been working this, since the gold mining season ended last season, and on the show, it kind of said I'm down, not out, kind of stopped mining. And it kind of looks like we're not going to be doing anything, but I've been working angles ever since the season ended. I've got actually some options to crew a crew of veterans in different locations, one in Canada and one in Alaska. And I'm contemplating kind of manning both teams with all veterans and just kind of more like a contracting. Misfits Mining would kind of be more like a contracting operation where it found veterans those jobs in mining. So it's kind of morphing a little bit off the show because I'm trying to keep it alive. And I saw how much it benefited the vets that we were helping. Wow. I mean, these guys want to go back and they're willing to give up the jobs they've gotten since we left to go back and mine again without TV. Wow. That tells you, TV is a pretty sweet gig. I mean, I'm not going to butter it. It's a sweet gig. It supports you in ways that we can't fully explain, but it supports us quite a bit. It makes mining operations a lot smoother, and it's a great way to share our story. But when you've got guys that are willing to go back to actually mine, it tells me that it's a great fit.
Yeah.
So my focus is going to be on vets, and I want to hire people with disabilities that aren't veterans as well. But I don't want to hire someone just because they're an experienced miner, because that's kind of the point. My point is we can train the trainer here if a couple of us get good enough at it, and we can keep this going with all vets. We don't have to bring outside help. Because in the past and recently, and I'm not going to say names because I don't talk shit, I've trusted civilians and they have burned me on the show. It's not no surprise. You can watch the last couple episodes and find that out. Right. And I'm just not trusting civilians anymore.
Got you. Don't blame you, man. If you have that bad experience, it's hard to do that. I get it. 100%, man.
Dude, you let your heart out. Like veterans were used to brotherhood and having each other's back, and an unequivocal promise is an unequivocal promise. Yeah. And you're going to do it no matter what, or you're going to let the dude know beforehand, I got to break this, and this is why. You don't just, there's no loyalty out there. Yes,
that's the word. Yep, that's exactly the word.
I'm done with it.
There's a whole bunch of selfishness instead of selflessness, It's like it's growing exponentially these last few years or maybe even 10 years. It's just crazy, I don't care for it, but whatever.
I feel stronger with my friends all scattered across the country being strong mentality men and women and veterans than I do having a bunch of civilians around me that will lie to me and tell me what they think I need to hear.
Right. They just don't see it the same way, man. Yeah, it's unfortunate. But hey, real quick, Cade Moore. Hey, Cade, welcome, buddy. He was asking who you were because he came in late. Hey, this is Fred, man. He was on the teams. Man, he's just a hero. How many languages do you speak?
I speak 4. Yeah, I'm kind of a language nerd. I don't look like a language guy, but that's one of the things.
Anyway, this is the kind of stuff that I wish I knew, man. I wish I knew more languages. I was mentioning that to you earlier, but Cade, that's basically the get, man. That's what you missed. I was just saying that he was with the teams. He's been on a couple of shows. He's an extreme athlete, all that kind of stuff, man. But let's go here. We got a notice profile. It should be Vin. Okay. What's up, Vin? Okay, well, okay, yeah. Anyway, man, so the shows that we talked about, I mean, that's all cool, but how about Steve Austin, man? Let's go back to him a little bit. That homie, I love that dude. So tell me a little bit more about him. You said he was cool. Why is that?
It was the whole experience was pretty intense. So you cast for this show. They fly you down to California, LA area. That one guy picks you up and per vehicle. The whole cast gets picked up separately so they don't fight because everybody's alpha that goes on the show. So you get secluded, you get dropped off in your room, and you spend 2 days in your room until you go to the film site. They won't let you mingle. They bring you a menu. They ask you what food you want. They treat you well. They make you do a few things preparing for the show, show your outfit, blah, 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 a bunch of stuff, just logistics. Then you get put into one bus together and carted to the site where the Skull Ranch was, which is amazing. And it's just, you can just feel it was like Gladiator. Like you were about to fight these guys, and you knew some of these events were pretty high speed. My event was, they had these 2 Velcro bands on our ankles, big industrial size ones. And we had to wrestle those off and then run and tag a bell. So you're just fighting a guy.
Hell yeah.
So you're like really, really pumped up about it. And it was just a super challenging experience against some top-notch athletes. I had a bunch of world-class athletes, a world-class runner, I think there's an Air Force guy and an Army guy. Robert Killian was on my episode. He's the Green Beret Spartan world champion. Like he's legit. Nice. 2-time Ranger, our Army Ranger champion. Like he's legit.
That's impressive.
Yeah. So it was cool. It was just one of those experiences. And then at the end, when I got put out, he came over and talked to me. Steve came over and talked to me, and he's like, you don't look disabled. And I was like, fuck yeah, that's pretty cool. And
that's the point.
Yeah. We talked for about 4 or 5 minutes, and they were like, hey, we got to get back and start filming. And he's like, hold on, I'm having a conversation over here. Like he actually cared about everybody on that show. And it was just, I've been on shows where they don't care about you.
I got you.
I would imagine that. So it was cool. He's legit.
Good, man. That's good to know. Cause a lot of people, they're actors, and so I wanted to hear about him, and I figured he was pretty legit,
Oh yeah. He had a lot of fun with it. I'm sad that show got canceled because I wanted to go back on.
Hell yeah, man. Let me see what we got here. Okay, here's Jeff's throwing out another question. What made you tend to do shows like those and not something like Survivor or Naked and Afraid? That's a good question, man. Would you do that?
No, I funny he should ask. I am going to apply for Survivor.
Hell yeah.
And my wife and I are going to apply for Amazing Race. Those are 2 things we've wanted to do. And I'm like, you know what? Well, why not? I got to figure out a way because I can't go in there. I'm kind of screwed, right? Because if I go on a show like that and say I'm a Green Beret, well, I'm gone.
Yeah.
Even if I say former military, that kind of puts me out a little bit because they're like, okay, he knows more than me. And as long as when it comes down to it. So how am I going to go on the show and just say I'm a gold miner and hopefully I'm in the show? So I'm kind of screwed on that. But Naked and Afraid, the reason I'm not going to do Naked and Afraid, they don't pay you enough to do that show, in my opinion. You're going out there for 28 days. It has to be something that you personally have some bucket list that you want to go torture yourself.
Right.
And Sears School was kind of shitty. That's enough for me. Yeah. And I had clothes on. So
yeah, I was going to ask you about Sears, man, but that's I don't know. Everybody's got an opinion.
I could tell you Sears School, I can summarize it. It's one of the things you hate more than anything until you're done, and then you love it more than anything.
Yeah. Then it's bragging rights, right?
Mm-hmm. Or just once you realize the experience is over, it's like, all right, that was pretty fucking cool.
Yeah. Well, I know it was very challenging. So, you
can't quit though.
No, there ain't no quit in you. You can't.
It makes it but they won't let you quit.
I know they won't let you. Yeah, they won't.
So it kind of takes a lot of the pressure off when you can't quit. You just curl into a ball and take the beatings.
Yeah. What's up? Okay. Hey man, so man, I'd really like to hear about this the gladiator races or whatever you were talking about, the Spartan races. Tell me a little bit about that, man. That sounds intriguing.
That was one of the things that I first went on to do adaptive sports. Someone convinced me to talk to SOCOM because SOCOM was putting together a team for Warrior Games. You've heard of Warrior Games, right?
Yeah. And
the Invictus Games. I've done both of them. So that kind of got me in the mentality of being an athlete again. I was like, man, my head's pretty dinged up and I've got problems, but I can still run. My run times are pretty good. So I started thinking about what else I could do, and Spartan races just kind of came naturally because there was a lot of them. They have like a North American series, and they have a bunch of ways you can compete and kind of keep track of your points. It's kind of cool. So I competed in the North American series age group, which was 40 to 45 or 40 to 50, one of those two.
Mm-hmm.
And I was ranked I think I was ranked 7th was the highest I got. Then I had a migraine and I missed one of the races, and that screwed me up. But, I was still getting out there and I was doing it. And that got me just to keep pushing and pushing more. I did a 24-hour race, the world's toughest mudder in Vegas, which is kind of insane because you got to wear a wetsuit and you got to pee in it because it's so cold. And you're just doing 5-mile loop over and over and over again. They have this psychologist that will check you like, all right, you're hyperthermic. You got to go to the warm tent for 20 minutes before you can run again. And it's just like one of those things where you just drive all night long. And those things just made me realize I am damaged, but I'm still pretty freaking fit. I'm still pretty functional.
Right.
And it kind of got me out of the mentality. Like I hated like when someone would say, what do you do? And my first response would be, I'm a disabled vet. That's the easy answer. Instead of saying you don't do anything.
Right.
You know what I mean? Where I think it's better to say you don't do anything to say you're a disabled vet, because then you're labeling yourself as like when you disable a tank, you're not driving that tank anywhere. It's a piece of shit now. So why would you label yourself like that?
Exactly.
Like,
yeah, man.
I had to get out of that mentality, and those events made me realize I can still run a sub 5-minute mile. I mean, I feel pretty good about that. So let's freaking go. Let's do something else. And then Gold Rush came around. Landed in my lap, actually.
Well, that's actually pretty cool that, I mean, you're in a position that those kind of things just become an opportunity. That's really cool, man.
It's all about putting yourself out there and just letting people know you have a story to tell and that you want to help other people with that story. Because I got lucky. Like you probably got lucky too, getting off of your medication, because it doesn't normally happen that easily.
No,
I've got friends that I serve with that are still having problems with that stuff. And that's 15 years ago, man. That's ridiculous.
If I didn't get sick, I'd probably be dead by now.
I OD'd on morphine. If I hadn't done that, I don't think I would have given a shit. But when I don't know, you probably come close. When you OD on morphine, you just slowly stop breathing.
Yeah,
you can't do anything about it. So I'm laying in bed, can't even move, and I'm like, I'm a medic. I know what's happening here. Is this my last breath? Mm-hmm. And then 2 hours of that was enough.
Yeah, man, my stepdad did that for real. So yeah, with morphine.
I was like, nope, not doing that. I'm not going out like that. And it was all because I had forgotten my dose. It wasn't because I'm not gonna lie, I was overdoing it, but I overdid it twice.
Right.
Accidentally. And that was, I'm like, can't even control myself. Why am I taking these pills? Why are they letting me take these pills? When they know I can't control myself.
They're making you take them. It's called decommissioning, man. That's what it's called. They're going to decommission your ass, just like they do with old vehicles and old ships. Uh-huh.
Well, I'm commissioned, brother.
Right. And I am too, man. And I made sure of that. You know what I'm saying? But
yep.
Well, Jeff says he's still struggling to get out of that mentality, man. We're here to help you. I still have those days. I still am up and down, man. It's like a roller coaster for me, but I'm up on the high level most days. So that's a good thing. That's
keep your lows above that threshold, and everything's going to be good. It's okay to have lows, but don't get in the mentality that the low is possible.
Mm-hmm.
If you keep your standards high. My wife says I have, one of the reasons I don't have friends is because I hold such high standards, but I don't. There's just not many people around me that can live up to my standards. And if I was around the right dudes, I'd be fine. I know I would, because I've been around them.
Yeah, man. Yeah. You have a standard that you have seen and that you have dealt with. And just like if I have a good cup of coffee, man, and that's my go-to coffee, I ain't trying to get no piece of shit coffee, man. I need pure coffee. You know what I'm saying? I mean, why waste my time? That's the fact, man. And, hey, what's up, Nick? Love you, my man. That's my nephew, Nick.
What's up, Nick?
Yeah, man. So those races are incredible, man. And so, like, how long did you train to get? Well, I don't know that you had to train. Did you have to train to get to these, or were you already in the shape, man?
Well, No, I started at scratch with the Warrior Games with SOCOM. I was at that point had just come off pills. I was living in Maui because that was my escape. I'm like, if I'm going to come off my pills, I need to be somewhere that's chill. So
Right.
my wife was awesome enough to find her a job in Maui, and we moved to Maui, and that was like my therapy. So I was out of shape. I was like blubby and tubby, but when I started going to the SOCOM practices and tryouts for the team, I saw these other guys with missing legs that were. I saw a dude run a 400. His name is Turbo, and he's a former Navy SEAL. He ran a 400. His leg came off on the third turn, and he finished the race and still won. Like you see guys like that, and you're like, dude. So I got hit in the helmet after like having like 5 concussions. Why am I being such a baby about it? You know, a migraine sucks, seizures suck, no sleep sucks, but I have my legs. These guys are doing better than me mentally, and they've been through worse. And that kind of got me going. And then I was like, I just need to buckle down and get in shape. So I just started working out, and that was kind of my new therapy. And now 6 days a week, I take 1 day a week off, and I have done that for as long as I can remember.
Wow. That's good shit, man. You hold to those schedules, man. That's that works for me too if I can stick to them. You know,
you just got to commit. That's it. Everybody asks me why I'm so addicted, and it's not an addiction. It's a commitment. You know, I know that eventually this is going to pay off, and it is paying off. I mean, if I wasn't fit, I wouldn't have been offered some of the opportunities that got me noticed to get offered to be on Gold Rush. Like everything is because of the changes I made in my life. So just energy, awesome. I guess.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. So, you got any more races coming up? You going to try to get into anything different?
Been starting to do a bunch of 5Ks. My wife's gotten into fitness too, so this is awesome. So she's done 2 5Ks with me so far this year. Cool. I've only been home since August from mining. I had to do reclamation, and I was like living in the Yukon alone. So every run I did up there, I had a little pen that had an M80 in it that I could flick at a bear to get him to go away. So I was basically running in fear the whole time. I think that actually helped me, though. I think like the adrenaline of constantly looking behind me for a bear kind of made me run a little more. But the Ironman's coming to our town next year, so I never would have done an Ironman, dude. I can't swim for shit. That's why I'm not a Navy SEAL. Barely passed the swim test in SF. Another reason I didn't go to Ranger school because I heard there's water there. Like I already got tabs. I don't need them. So I've got to swim 2 miles down the river, but I feel like it's coming to my town.
Yeah. I mean, why not? Yeah. Shit.
I'd be a pussy if I didn't go. I'd be a pussy. That's just how I think. I'm sorry.
You got to represent, man. Yeah. You got to represent your hometown.
Yeah. So I'm going to either drown or I'm going to do well.
You know, no wonder you can run sub 5s, man. You run in the Yukon with bears and shit all around you. No wonder you can run a sub 5. So guys, if you want to run
5,000 feet too, we could be like,
oh shit. Yeah. Well, yeah. So you come here and run. It's like nothing, huh? I assume.
Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah.
Mac. Yep.
That's awesome, man.
Colorado people know what I'm talking about. They get that the whole time. That's not even fair.
You know, I visited Colorado once, and we were up in the mountains, and it was that. It reminded me of the hills of or the mountains of Afghanistan, which would have been northern or whatever. I can't remember. It was like near Bagram, but I couldn't breathe up there, man. I couldn't breathe. It sucked.
Yeah, Bagram, Roby district, or even the Korengal is up in there too. There's some good mountains up in there.
Yep.
That's where most of our stuff was.
Yeah, and that's why I was asking you questions earlier, if you get what I'm saying. But well, let me see if anybody's got any questions for you, man. Anybody got any questions for Fred? Come on, y'all. Yeah, that's about it. Jeffrey was at Mazar and Sharif.
Oh, heck yeah.
Yep. Yeah, man.
Thunder Down Under, man. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, man. I just you got any cool stories about like Halo or any other cool things that you can share with us, man? I love hearing those kind of stories, man.
Trying to think. Well, we had this one jump we were doing in Morocco. We decided to do. We called it a jump fest because somebody wanted to get their. What do you get? You get like a star for so many
Mustard?
when you're
No,
jump master for so many times.
Jump master.
I wasn't I wasn't jump master, so I don't know why, but the jump master, if he had so many jumps, he would get an extra thing on his thing or whatever.
Right.
So we went to Morocco and we did like 20 jumps a day.
Wow.
I mean, it was ridiculous. And you're packing your own chute.
Jeez.
So it's exhausting. And
I guess so.
We did some static line jumps too, which no, I think that was my last static line jumps actually. And my team sergeant ends up jumping. This is in Morocco. And breaking his shattered his freaking what was it? Wasn't his femur? It shattered one of his leg bones. Can't remember which one it was. Like bone sticking out, completely broken. He's a Buddhist, so he's like out there meditating. His heart rate stayed completely low. We had to evac him to a local hospital, and I'm the 18 Delta. I think I was the only one. Maybe there was another one because sometimes there was two. And we go into the room to check on him, just to be like, all right, see what kind of care he's getting. And we walk in this hospital room, and it looks like 1912. Like they've got glass bottle IVs. They've got like catheters that long. They're getting ready to stick in him. And we're like, whoa. Can we do this? Like, well, let us do this. And they're like, okay, sure. So the doctors just leave and let us hook up his IV with our IVs and get him going. But dude, I'd never seen anybody break their leg and have a heart rate of 80 the entire time. But this dude held it. He was my first team sergeant. He was so calm. We put an air cast on, took him to the hospital. Never lost his cool whatsoever. And it was like,
dude, that's the kind of guys you want with you, man, that can keep their composure in the shit right there, man.
I guess you want Buddhists.
Yeah, I guess so, man. I guess so. So, hey, we got a question. How did you get into TV to begin with? How did you do that?
So the American Ninja Warrior, I just applied for it like everybody else. Same with Steve Austin's Broken Skull Challenge. And that's how I'm doing Survivor and Amazing Race. You go online, you research when they let their casting videos out. And I did a little research on like best techniques and how to get noticed.
Sure.
Just making sure my videos were popping and that the story was involved. And everybody loves the story. Everybody loves the recovery. Everybody loves, someone trying to do better.
Yeah.
And every time I've applied for a show, I got offered to be on the show alone, and I had to turn it down for Gold Rush. I kind of wish I had done that. That's where you just go out and live in the woods as long as you can survive. And then with Gold Rush, I got casted for a show called Homestead Rescue, which is, I think, still on. And they picked the other guy that got the show instead of me, and they just kept in touch with me. And then when Parker wanted someone to go to Papua New Guinea, they're like, let's send Fred. He's a Green Beret.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Hell yeah, man. That's pretty bitching. Hey, another question was, are you looking for veterans to go on your cruise? Yeah,
I am. Yeah,
All
I have an open door policy too. Everybody can follow me on Instagram, official Fred Lewis. I got a little check mark. Or Facebook, Fred Lewis. You can just message me and you'll know it's me. It's not, I don't think there's any pretend Fred Lewis's out there yet. Maybe.
And you're in Vetcodes too, so if you're a Vetcodes member, just go. I mean, he's in there with us too, guys. If you want to go check him out.
True that. Yeah, but I'm looking at opportunities this year in Alaska, and if that works, I am hoping to be able to get more slots the next year, and just keep finding vets. And it's a guaranteed paycheck. I mean, if someone doesn't like it, it's super hard. And I've had guys come up that are gung ho warriors that are like, nah. This isn't for me.
Yeah. What's the requirements? Are there any requirements like, what you should be able to do or a skill you should have?
Yeah. So our biggest focus right now is heavy equipment operators. If you've got experience with a rock truck, an excavator, or a dozer, or if you're a diesel mechanic, you're in. I mean, you can't have enough diesel mechanics, and almost all diesel mechanics know how to operate at the same time. So, skills that we can throw in with little supervision and train up on the site. And we find that having no experience with heavy equipment is just too dangerous.
Yeah, I agree, man. Especially out there too. I mean,
there's places you can get classes. You can go and find heavy equipment companies that do training, and you can get training. That's what I recommend. But it's just, it's like drinking from a fire hose as it is. Learning how to gold mine, and then you trying to learn how to use a piece of equipment or how to build a road properly. And if we have to go back and redo that, it's just we're trying to focus on skill, and then we'll train them how to be gold miners.
Right. Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. Jeffrey was an 88 Mike for 8 years, he says.
Hell yeah.
Everybody talking, but hey, guys, look him up. Let them know that you're interested, kind of thing, and tell them what you guys have to offer, man. Maybe it's a fit. We'll see, man.
Yeah, we take resumes, and eventually we'll verify D214s, and we'll move forward. We've hired. I've hired JB off the internet. He's my mechanic, former Green Beret, this guy's amazing. He's a former Green Beret, diesel mechanic, a crime scene investigator. He was on SWAT team for, I think, 8 years, and he's a carpenter.
Wow. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Man of many talents.
I hired a few guys offline, and I've only had like 1 or 2 kind of misrepresent, and we're getting better at our interview process to make sure we're getting the right matches. Because it's a deployment.
Right.
It really is.
Exactly.
There's bears instead of Taliban.
Right. Yeah, bears are worse, man. They're more accurate when they catch you, right?
And weed's legal in Canada and Alaska, so we're good to go.
There you go. Hell yeah, man. You can medicate real well. Well, good shit. Man, I'd like to talk to you sometime about agriculture. Maybe we could do that offline. But
yeah, definitely. That's what I did before. I used to teach ag to vets, so I would love to talk. I would love to talk ag.
Bro, if you ever have the opportunity to come on here and talk about ag to the group, that's what we do, man. That's what I do is I talk to them about growing things, man, and I could use some expert advice. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
I
ran a CSA for 2 years, 55 person CSA. That was like the one time I realized you could make money in agriculture, because I'd always thought farming was just to feed your family type of thing. And I made 60 grand off a quarter acre.
Wow.
I'm like, what? This is crazy.
Yeah, man.
So, yeah.
And I'd like to hear about how you did that too, man. I'm sure everybody else would too, man. We're gonna have to show up another show, man, or get another show going.
I'll do a show just on that. I was in a magazine in Fort Bragg for doing that, because we did it right in our backyard right outside Fort Bragg in sand.
Nice. Yeah, man. We need to do a show, bro. Hell yeah.
I'm down.
Sweet, man. Well, you guys got any more questions for him? Anybody? Oh yeah. Yeah, man. People are already saying they'll tune in again if when you come on, because they all want to hear that shit. And especially, you have a focus in your brain that's just, I don't know, you can recall a lot of information clearly. And I like that, because sometimes I can't recall. And I like to have you recall all this shit to these people and, help me out.
I think there's something in my brain that clicks onto some things. I will forget shit like on the daily that makes me feel absolutely, I don't want to say the words because we're not allowed to use them anymore, but you know what I mean? Make me feel dumb.
Yeah, man, I'm there with you.
Like, what did I do yesterday? I have no idea. But I can tell you the lines from Hamlet that I did in high school. What the hell?
There are certain things, man, that I just don't lose. But yeah, there's a lot of shit. Like my name, I swear that's like the worst of it. I will forget my name some days. Literally, I swear to you.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know.
You used to forget what state I was in quite a bit when I was on medication.
Right. But
you're like, wait, where am I?
Right. I don't get mad about it anymore, about forgetting shit. It's, I took some good bangs to the face too, and so it is what it is.
Everybody forgets. And, smoking weed may not help.
You're right. Sometimes, yeah. But
whatever. It's nature of the beast.
Well, all right, man. Fred, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up, man. Hang out real quick while I end this and tell everybody. And then I wanted to shoot the shit with you just for about a couple of minutes. All right.
Sounds good.
Let's see here. Yeah, man. Hey, guys, I'll say it one more time. Look up Fred on Facebook, Instagram. Reach out to him if you guys are interested in that kind of stuff. I see a lot of people saying all their experiences, Fred. You might have some options here, brother.
Send it my way.
Hell yeah. All right, guys. Well, thank you for showing up, man. Thank you for spending a minute with Misfit here talking to Fred, man. Fred, thank you for showing up, man. This was a really cool show. I always love talking to folks of your caliber, man.
Hell, Misfit to Misfit.
Hell yeah, man. Yeah, we got to talk about that, Fred. We're going to have to fucking talk about that. I just played. All right, y'all. So until next time, guys, I think tomorrow there might be a waffle. I haven't talked to Prez today, man. Let me talk to him. But we'll get it out there in the morning for you guys to sign up for if it's available, okay? All right, y'all. Until next time, man. Happy growing, y'all.